The 2023 wholesaling real estate ban. Is wholesaling real estate banned in 2023? Depends who you ask. If you ask a guru who's trying to make money off of you, who's also a realtor that wants you to become a realtor, yes. If you ask a lawyer, they're going to say no. If you ask a realtor, they're going to say, yeah, it's banned. If you ask a title company, they're going to say, no, it's not banned. It's really up in the air for a lot of people. But what I want to do is just give you a complete, non-biased, best I can do, breakdown of wholesaling regulation. Because wholesaling regulation is coming. It is happening right now. But the thing I want you to understand is it's not a regulation on wholesaling. It's a regulation on how you wholesale. And I think this is the biggest problem I think a lot of people have. And I think this is a big issue because most people that make videos on wholesaling laws and bans and all these things, it's so bad. Like, it is so bad. I decided, to make this topic today because you know why? I showed you this comment the other day. Somebody said, hey, there's this new law going in Kentucky talking about assignment of contracts. What is this about? They said this in a Facebook group, not my Facebook group, because people in my Facebook group know what they're doing. The person commented underneath it. You know what they said? Wholesaling real estate is completely banned in Kentucky. You can't even wholesale in Kentucky. Banned. And like they're insinuating you go to prison. You're right next to the murderers if you wholesale real estate. Some gurus actually did some videos that said, if you don't wholesale the right way, if you buy my program, you're going to go to jail. And this misinformation is so bad. It is so terrible. When in all actuality in Kentucky, they try to regulate one part of wholesaling, which is the marketing side, which is kind of stupid the way, because it's just so easy. They made the law so you can just go around it. But what we want to do is break down basically all of wholesaling regulation currently right now, where it's heading to in the future, and why most of it's overblown. We still believe that in 99% of cases in real estate wholesaling, you should not have a real estate license because the real estate board will take away your assignment fees. Not may, will, because they've done it on multiple occasions. And it's a very interesting thing. But before we break it down, before we share this, because this is the information you need to know, I can confidently tell you, and this is with truthfully in my soul, and I know in your soul, there is nobody else on YouTube, nobody else that's going to give you straightforward advice on wholesaling laws that doesn't have a hidden agenda. What I mean by this, I do not have a hidden agenda today, you either, of I'm going to tell you something, and then what I want to do is really push you toward to signing up for something or doing something. It's not. I do a free wholesaling course. You can do it. You don't have to do it. I don't care. I just want you to have the knowledge in your head of what to do. But what we're going to do is read the laws. What we're going to do is follow probably the most important document any citizen in the United States can have is the Constitution.
Which we tend to ignore now.
A lot of people like ignoring it, but the Constitution actually has laws about wholesaling from the 1700s. And I like the Constitution. US of A, baby. I believe in it, right? And I can tell you, we can look at the Constitution because whatever law passes anywhere, it goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has a conservative majority, and the conservative majority has stated on every occasion that they're going to read the Constitution and read it up to whatever new law comes down. And we have some interesting clauses in wholesaling real estate that no guru, no YouTuber on wholesaling has ever brought up about wholesaling laws. Not one person. But guess who likes reading the Constitution for fun? That's kind of a nerd. Me. I bring it to you. You're like, oh my gosh, right? You didn't even know that. But
it's amazing the depth that our forefathers had way back then. But guys, here's what you have to understand. And we're going to get into it is you understand when people attack you with fear. I get it. It's attractive. The guy sitting behind bars is wholesaling will be illegal. And if you do the panic mode like everybody else, you're going to be scared. Read the dang thing. I'm telling you, most of these ticky-tack law statutes, there's no definitive definition of how you're breaking law. You can't market. What does that mean? You can't advertise. What's your definition of advertising? Stop being scared. Read it. And when someone says, hey, you're going to go to jail for it, say, please give me names. Give me actual court cases of people not. You're going to get nothing but crickets, guys. And here's the problem is, if you're going to follow the masses in the crowd, which you're probably not because you're a wholesaler, be very, very aware, because the idea is most politicians put these things in to scare you. And they know when it comes down to it, the teeth is going to be challenged. I get it. I don't want anyone to be brought into a court of law and challenged on this stuff. But like, I got to be honest with you, man. Some of this stuff is so ridiculous. If you think getting your real estate license solves all your problem, that is one of the biggest lies and scams I've ever seen out there. Do you want to be a realtor? Or you want to be a wholesaler? Why? That's like telling an electrician you got to go get a plumber's license. Why? In case you break a pipe? So this argument goes on to the end of the time. We're here to give clarity to it. Let's do it.
We're here to break it down. So let me explain one thing really quick. And this is very important. And this is a bold comment. This is a bold comment. And it's shocking that no other comment, but I'm just going to say it. In all 50 states in the United States of America, wholesaling real estate is legal. Now, there are obviously laws and regulations in what you can and can't do in some states and other states. But for wholesaling real estate, there are laws in every single state. Every state has some type of law about wholesaling real estate. For example, if I wholesale a house and I legally sign a contract, I have to not forge somebody's signature. That's an actual law. Forgery is a crime, right?
Yeah.
I can't steal. I can't cloud somebody's title maliciously. I can't criminally go beat somebody up under distress and say, sign this or else. That is intimidation. That is assault. That we have laws for these things. So yes, there are laws when it comes to wholesaling, but that's in general.
General fraud, completely misleading practices. And so the few people go, hey, Rick, what about this guy, that guy? Every one of them is forgery, flat out fraud. If you misrepresent a bank loan, that's not illegal wholesaling. And honestly, you're getting a bank loan. It has nothing to do with wholesaling. Guys, ask for proof. You won't get it. They're like, no, it's coming. Guys, we're in an argument between federal and state. Federal, in my opinion, supersedes state. But like, we can do this argument. There's so many other industries that have the exact same thing going at without me getting into the weeds of it. You know what I mean? Went over your head, didn't it?
Yeah, probably.
But like, it's okay. So but these state arguments, like there's an industry where the states are legalizing it, but the federal says it's 100% illegal. And guys, it's everywhere and they just ignore it. So why are you so scared as a wholesaler? We have the opposite problem, and you have the United States Constitution backing you up.
Oh, I know you're talking
the
about.
Mother of all, so it's reverse.
It's true.
So if I was scared of that, like, why are you guys going to all these places? Because it's against federal law. So which would you rather be, on the federal law side or the state law side? Rest my case. Guys, this is a joke. What's going on? Stop being scared.
It's like, so I know what you're talking about. It's like if you're in Colorado right now and you buy, let's say, some weeds from the local shop there.
Yeah.
If it's like, I'll make a video that says, if you have this in Colorado, the FBI is going to come down and arrest you. It's going to be a raid and you're done. Right. And the truth is, it's against one law, but no one's enforcing it because it's unconstitutional. Right.
But people are putting hundreds of millions of dollars in this industry, and at any moment they could be taken down. And let me tell you, the federal government has a lot more power than the state with all their departments. Guys, like, don't let these little laws scare you. It's ridiculous. Just, you got to be educated. We're going to work on it today.
And we're going to break it all. So let's break it all down. One thing I want to let you guys know before we start this, and this is something I want people to understand, that wholesaling real estate is not a thing where just like the little mom and pops do it and it's being cracked down and all this crazy stuff. Guys, the reason why these laws are happening, why all this thing's going on, is just, first of all, wholesaling is done by multi-billion-dollar corporations. So probably the largest wholesaler I know is D.R. Horton. And what D.R. Horton does, they're pretty much one of the biggest home builders in America, right? Mm-hmm. And what they do, sometimes they'll buy contracts to buy pieces of land, and then they decide through, inspection, whatever, it's not good enough for us, right?
Yeah.
Or, whatever. And they'll assign that contract to buy that piece of land to other people, and they will legitimately make $1 million assignment fees from it, all legally, right? I think the market cap is it's worth $30 billion, that corporation, and they wholesale houses, and they make a good amount of money doing it too. They're not wholesalers per se, majority, but they make a ton of money doing it. So if you think that a $30 billion corporation is going to just be okay with wholesaling, no, they're not. Okay. There is a reason why they don't ban wholesaling. They try, because that corporations like that would never stand for it. Guess who else assigns contracts? Banks do it all the time. Like huge corporations assign contracts. So an assignment of contract is the same thing as writing up a contract.
95% of mortgages are assigned in the
That's
first
it.
year.
And so here's the best part of it all. And this is the sexiest part of it all. To write a contract, first of all, if you really look into contracts and what they are, and how contracts actually work, contracts are a lot of things. If I go agree to sign a phone bill or whatever, I just sign a contract, right? Cable company, I just sign a contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this thing, like we're having a multifamily thing, we're putting, what is it called? What's the wires for the internet?
Oh,
the good cable, you know. I'm blanking on it, but like we had to sign a contract to get the fiber optics on it. Like we had to sign a contract. I'm like, I was thinking about it. Like we're signing it. I'm like, I'm literally signing a contract, and people are trying to ban this. We have to understand fundamentally, wholesaling real estate, we write contracts and we sell the equitable interest in the contract. And so contracts are done by pretty much every corporation in the United States.
Leases are a big part of it too.
Leases are contracts.
Commercial, everything, even your little residential lease. If you decide to sell the property with the tenant, if that lease isn't assignable, it becomes really problematic. Everything has to be assignable. They're never going to get rid of it because it would ruin businesses head to toe.
Well, that's how leases work. And so renters are one of the biggest demographics in America. And for them to protect themselves from not getting kicked out month to month, they have to sign contracts on real estate to lease, purchase, or sell real estate. Mm-hmm. And what's happening, there's two states that are trying to stop it. They are the weeds of the laws because they're trying to stop it. So understanding that wholesaling is not going to get banned. I want you to understand, because to ban that, you have to ban people from renting out property. And the largest hedge funds in the United States right now are renting out properties and doing leases. And so there's a reason why. So there's some laws where they're trying to, well, let's just get into the laws, but they're trying to stop people from writing leases, but they're trying to go after wholesaling. But to go after wholesaling, you have to go after every single tenant. You have to go after every single landlord. Yeah. You have to go after every single. So if I'm a landlord, and I own a lot of rental property. If I'm a landlord, okay, and I own 2 rental properties and I sign 2 leases with 2 of my tenants, I'm theoretically breaking the law in Illinois and in a new law in Maryland. Here's the truth. Are they really going to go after the 7-year-old lady that's renting out 2 houses? No. So it's unconstitutional. And so just letting you know that these laws have been here for, the Illinois law that they have, which we'll break down, has been here for about 4 years now, right? 4 years, and not one person has enforced it because they're just trying to go after wholesaling. But if you're going to go after me for wholesaling in Illinois, you're going to have to go after every single lady that rents out 2 houses.
Yeah, you can't pick and choose, guys. They're trying to stop wholesaling because, once again, people don't understand it. It's mostly driven by the realtors industry, NAR, not every realtor. That's a misleading comment, but you just can't do it. So we're going to attack marketing and advertising and we're going to go after your equitable interest. It's such nicky-knack, little stuff. And the whole violation, all this stuff, you have to have a real estate license. Well, real estate license is set there as a monopoly by NAR, the National Association of Realtors, to drive fees. Do you know most realtors do little to no business and they collect hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year? And the system's set, whereas in NAR's perfect world, if anyone ever touched a piece of real estate, including a FSBO like seller, if it was up to them, you would have to get some sort of licensing. It's towards their beneficial interest. Now, don't get me wrong, licensing's at the state level, but that just creates a basically funnel to shove everybody in to become a licensed realtor. And then why not get access to MLS, get your dues? NAR is your biggest labor union, in my opinion, outside some of the old school
teachers, Teamsters,
something like that. And we all know that in the long run, all these labor unions, it's always problematic in the long run because funds always get manipulated. They run out. You got to fund the old with the new. And if not enough new people come in, it's a problem. So everything that comes in has an agenda. And don't you find it ironic to fix every one of these loopholes? Everything you have to be licensed.
Or you have to pay money. So it's ridiculous. So let's just talk about it, okay? First of all, what's going on? Why are we making this video? Regulations coming, what's going on? So in 2023, 2 laws came about to, quote unquote, as the gurus say, it's a wholesaling ban. And I'm not exaggerating. They called it a wholesaling ban. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not a ban on wholesaling. is clearly not. It is
that's a marketing term.
It's a marketing term. Wholesaling has never been banned. It can't be banned. To ban wholesaling, you will have to ban America. That's the honest truth. And so it's so funny the way they try to ban it. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the truth about these quote unquote wholesaling bans. Okay. When you hear the word wholesaling ban, okay, you are being manipulated for money. All right. So if somebody tries to tell you wholesaling is about to be banned, watch out. There's always going to be something in the end for you to pay them money. They're always going to be. Join my brokerage, join my thing, pay me money, be a realtor, spend $5-6 grand a year just to be a realtor so I can get a 25% commission off of you. And so also I can be your own boss. When you are a realtor, you have a boss and they can tell you what you can or can't do in real estate and in wholesaling. And wink, wink, a lot of these people are going to try to get a % off of your assignment fee by doing no work, not bringing any buyer to you, not helping you. No, they just want a big portion of your assignment fee, up to 20-25% of it.
Well, keep in mind, if you go under a broker, their whole goal is to make money off you. So if you're coming on the brokerage just to be under that dome of protection and generate no revenue, you're going to have to pay them something sooner or later. Now, the more they push wholesalers and investors under this licensing umbrella, under a realtor-broker relationship, these brokers are going to go, wait a minute, like you just did 36 assignments. I didn't get a dime of it. So now comes the question, were you a realtor or were you an investor wholesaler? And once you get a realtor's license, you're under one umbrella. You can't jump in and out. I don't care what you say. And I promise you, if you ever wind up in the court of law, you are a realtor. They're not going to hear your investment argument. Oh, I have disclosures. I'm here to tell you, once you become licensed, that's it. Once you become a licensed attorney, and like I just have a basic conversation with you, I just gave you licensed professional opinion, and I'm held to the highest standard in court to do it. You can't go in and out. And I'm here to tell you. So think about this. You're a broker. You go, okay, I'm an investor-friendly broker. And by the way, brokers are bought and sold like milk jugs. They move so fast. So you can be under one. They can sell it out from under you. And a lot of these are built on like MLM things. Like you bring somebody in, you get a $300 perk. Well, that's how I'm going to drive it. And what you have to understand is, why would a broker take you if they can't generate any revenue from you? They're completely liable for everything you do and say. And you're probably going to get multiple complaints in front of the board of realtors. But someone says, hey, I have an investor-friendly broker. There's no such thing as an investor-friendly brokerage. They're all under the same umbrella. It's just, now maybe they have more investors under that, which is fine. But if you tick somebody off, and you will in wholesaling, because it's just the nature of the beast, most people get upset with us because they don't understand what we're doing. Instead of trying to understand it, which I strongly tell you, don't try to explain it because you just waste your time and piss them off more. They file a complaint for you. And there's 3 million Karens out there that that's going to file the most complaints when you get licensed. It's other realtors, hands down. Now, I can't tell you how many times in my 20-year career someone said they're going to file a complaint for me. I said, there's only one person you can file a complaint to. It's my mother. That's it. That's the only person I'm going to listen to. And here's the problem. Even if it's a bogus claim, you have to defend yourself. You have to substantiate it, and your broker has to help you out and get through it. How many times do you think your broker's going to sit through that and go, what the heck are you doing, Zach? Like, you're getting me in trouble. This is getting crazy. And then you're going to go from broker to broker. Like, now you have a license. You paid all these fees. You're like, what the heck did I do with this all? I thought it was supposed to protect me. Nope, you opened up Pandora's box. So I just find it ironic that every solution seems to be like, get licensed. Guys,
it's bad.
If you want to be a real estate agent, go knock yourself out. But if you want to be an electrician, go get your electrician's license. Don't go get your plumber's license. A real estate license will do nothing for you. And here's my other favorite one. But, well, if I get a realtor's license, it'll give me instant credibility. No, it's not. Realtors know if you do business or not. They have thousands and thousands of hours under it, just like wholesalers know. You are not going to get credibility with just a license.
Exactly. But the other thing on here too is, so if I'm an attorney, okay, and I try to buy my own house and write up a contract, I'm an attorney. These wholesaling laws that 2 states have tried, theoretically, if I'm an attorney, I will go to jail for leasing more than, if I'm an attorney and I rent out 2 properties, jail, right? That's what the gurus are making it seem like. It's just so crazy the way they do that. But let's just break it all. You know why? I want everyone to understand why I made this video today. So people, why are you saying you've said this video? Because I get comments like this. So wholesaling is also being banned in Maryland. This is one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever. I feel like this is a troll just to work me up. But So wholesaling's only being banned in Maryland. Who watches this video and from there they say, okay, wholesaling is banned in Maryland? Like, what in the world is this? This
Guys,
is the Twilight Zone.
Unless they threw the Constitution like out the door, it's ridiculous because you still, even if you were prosecuted for this, they'd have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And then you just, like, states just can't supersede. Guys, I see contracts all the time in real estate. People put stuff in there that's basically illegal. Like, my favorite is when somebody writes in a bona fide real estate contract, your EMD is a non-refundable. You can't write that in a state-approved, FAR approved contract. It's an escrow is an escrow. It goes in a neutral party. If you have a separate agreement on what the agreement is with the escrow money, that's a different story. But you can't just because somebody puts it in a contract doesn't make it legal. The same thing is going on with lawmakers.
And so let's break this down. And so I want everyone to understand that there's currently 2 new changes coming down in 2023 that are being proposed. Some don't pass and some do pass, right? What I can tell everybody watching this is just a rule of thumb. There's only one state right now that's trying to stop wholesaling. In general, they can't because they pass an unconstitutional law that is not enforceable. That is actually not being enforced currently. There are people in Illinois right now that are just wholesaling and they don't really care. I'm not saying you should do that, but there are ways around it. You should talk to an attorney and they can clearly tell you. I've been told clearly from my lawyers that I cannot tell you the loophole around Illinois for some reason, but I will not explain it, but you guys can do it yourself. But what I can tell you is if you have a state that loves regulation, if your governor says we should regulate things more, I want more regulation in your life. The government should be in bed with you more. You know, we don't have enough government in my life. Regulate me harder, please. If your governor says that, probably going to be a state that's not going to be wholesaling friendly. Just a quick thing you can look up. If your state has laws to stop people from increasing rent, that's probably not a good state for wholesaling. It's highly regulatory. And regulation is I'm not a big fan of it. You know, I'm kind of the guy that, you know, you tell me what to do. I don't like it, right? And I have morals, ethics, all these things. But I feel like what's going on with the laws currently, I think it's pretty much written perfect. Like Florida, they have the laws written pretty well, right? And so what I could tell you is the 2 new changes coming down, the current wholesaling bans. Let's break it down. So let's break down the 2 current new laws that are being proposed, right? And so one is in Maryland. I call it a FSBO law. It's not even, I don't know why that popped up first, but this is Kentucky, okay? So wait, no, is this Maryland? I think I was showing the wrong one. My bad, guys. I was showing the wrong one. So sorry, my bad. All right, let's reset this. Okay, sorry, guys.
Which one is that?
I was reading the wrong. This is the Kentucky's law, okay? Real estate brokerage basically means that it's adding the including advertising and sale of an equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of a real property. So what's advertising? So what they're trying to do in Kentucky, since it's a conservative state, they can't really do anything against the Constitution, and they refuse to do it. They're trying to stop you from advertising, not from selling your equitable interest, not for doing an assignment of contract. They're not trying to stop this in Kentucky, okay? They actually can't do that. They physically can't. And so what they're trying to do is stop you from advertising. What's advertising? Well, what does real estate mean? Well, we can go here and they give you definitions. What's real estate? Okay, timeshares, options, and other interests in leaseholds. They give me definitions of everything here, right? Broker, they make it very clear, but they don't give me a definition for advertising. It's very vague on purpose. You know why it's vague? Because if they give you a real definition, then it's deemed unconstitutional and they can't do it. So there's no definition. And so there's a definition of advertising for brokers, but I'm not a broker, right? So I need a definition for this one. And does that mean marketing materials? I don't know. And so theoretically, they're trying to stop me from marketing or putting it in a newspaper. And it's kind of a stupid law. You just get around that really easy. You could double close, all these things.
There's a million ways, guys. Just remember, always think about, listen, every law they're going to pose will always be 2 steps ahead of it. Is it a pain in the butt? Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But remember, a lot of these laws are trying to appease certain party members and keep it constitutional. And sometimes I just think they put these things on here just to appease people and get people off their back. Who wants to try a case where it's not winnable? So whenever they bring somebody up, whoever, you know, if the state's going against you or something like that, they want to win. if there's no definition of advertising, I'm not an attorney, guys, but I would just tell me what advertising law we broke. Which one? Where's the advertisement? Do you have the printout? Do you have documentation of it? So here to argue, guys, it's just read this stuff. Me and Zach are the only ones that actually publicly come on the air and say, hey, listen, stop believing everything you're hearing and look into it. Guys, I've been wholesaling over 20 years. I have never, ever been challenged once. I've done it all over the United States. I know I had better times when I started, but like a lot of this stuff's ridiculous. So a lot of people, a lot of influencers saying, listen, just give up and put in your real estate license. We're the complete opposite. Why do something that I don't want to be a real estate agent? Like, it's crazy. Like, guys, read it. We know what happens when we just follow the masses and we do what they say. We had a human experiment a couple of years ago, and I couldn't even go out. I couldn't even go out on my public beach without covering my face. It's like, how do you enforce a law like that? You guys are being played the exact same way. Maybe some states will get a little bit more specific, but this is ridiculous because this means so many banks, institutions, hedge funds are all going to be breaking this statute. And how are they going to take them down? Are they going to take me and Zach down for it? Like, it's crazy. So just get very, very familiar with your state laws and stop believing everything everybody tells you on the internet. Because if you think you're going to join someone's brokerage to have this shield, you're 100% wrong.
I agree. It drives me crazy that I see this all the time from wholesalers and everything like that. Oh, there's this new law. It's going to stop this. Honestly, what I can tell you is so many wholesalers try to put the fear into you. And it drives me crazy.
Fear sells. And that's why you guys get it. And like, why, if somebody's got 10, 20 years experience in the industry, why don't they help like read the bills, tell you how to navigate instead of just going, listen, just throw your towel in. You guys are screwed. Like, end of story. And I just crazy, man.
Let's talk about this Maryland bill. All right. So Maryland has this thing where basically it says real estate brokering. They're altering the definition of real estate brokerage services to include engaging the business of real estate wholesaling to require an individual who engages in wholesaling to be licensed as a real estate broker, an associate real estate broker, or real estate salesperson, generally related to the provision of brokering services. Okay, so at least Maryland does this, right? They tell me what the definition of wholesaling is. So regardless of whether the activity is engaged for another person, engaging the buying or selling, offering to buy or sell, or marketing of real estate, of otherwise dealing in contracts, including contracts for real estate or options on real estate on 2 or more occasions in any 12-month period. So what that basically means is, to a point, if you are engaging in the buying or selling or offering to buy or sell, so to either buy something, to sell or market real estate, or dealing in contracts, leases, including assignable contracts for real estate on 2 or more occasions, that's considered brokering, which is kind of funny because it's a little different, because this just says wholesaling and this says for renting out property on top of it. And so they're not giving me a good one too on this. So this one's very vague on purpose too. So theoretically, you could be allowed to lease on here, but if you're allowed to lease, then the other, it's kind of funny because this law, it contradicts itself so much. So the purpose of this law is to say, if you're wholesaling, you have to be licensed. Well, okay. Well, if the law is just for wholesaling, I'll just double close. But they're like, well, wholesaling is when you buy houses. And I'm like, that's not wholesaling.
That's crazy.
And so they're really contradicting themselves on this law. And you're going to get no definition of it because they're not going to do anything. But pretty much, I keep going here on the bell on this. But pretty much, let's see. Engaging regularly in the business of dealing in real estate or leases of options on real estate. So it's kind of funny how the way they explain this. But so the article in this, the words have meanings including. So what is the word consideration? Selling, buying, exchanging, leasing, all this stuff, right? So regardless of the activity, so let's go to 7 here. There's 7 on this one. It's not on here, but I probably go through the other one. But if I go through here, regardless of activity of engaged in. So it's just fascinating the way it's doing it, because it's saying in the buying or selling of real estate. So except as otherwise provided in this title, an individual shall be licensed to do any of this stuff, which is kind of funny. And so this law will definitely be changed. You know, they change laws like this all the stinking time. But what I can tell you is this law is so weird. It's trying to stop you from buying more than, actually offering to buy more than 2 pieces of real estate. And so the thing is, if I am a person that has a regular job and I see a house and I offer to buy 2 FSBOs I see in the market, it's a FSBO law. They're trying to stop me from buying houses without being licensed, which is unconstitutional. Okay. The only other law like that is in Illinois. Illinois has the same exact law, and they both love regulating. And what I can tell you is those laws aren't enforced at all. And the reason they're not being enforced at all is because of something that we call the contract clause in the Constitution. And I've read really hard in the contract clause, and the Supreme Court has actually talked about the contract clause before. The contract clause in the Constitution, I'm just going to bring it down because the Constitution is beautiful and I love bringing it up, is basically Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. And basically what it states, let's go to Cornell. Let's go to congress.gov. All right. That's straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. It's from constitution.congress.gov. Okay. See if everyone can read this. All right. This is why no state enforces those laws that they make. They just try to stop wholesaling, but they're not going to enforce. No state shall enter into a treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters, make money, all that stuff, right? Things but gold and silver coin to tender and payments of debts, pass any bills, ex facto laws, or laws impairing the obligation of contracts or to grant any title of nobility.
Boom.
Basically means it's stopping. The states can't supersede federal law, impairing, stopping somebody from obligating a contract, writing contract, or forming a contract, right? And this is from the Congress, okay? This is Congress. In addition to prohibiting states from enacting bills, the Constitution seeks to protect private rights from states and interfering by limiting states' power to enact legislation that alters existing contract rights. The Constitution Clause provides no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. Although this language cannot be read as completely prohibiting a state's regulation impairing of contracts, the Supreme Court has interpreted the clause to limit a state's power to enact legislation that breaches or modifies its own contracts or regulates contracts between private parties. This is the most important part here. The Supreme Court says that the states are limited to laws that regulate contracts between private parties. Now, I don't want to get really boring on the technical nonsense of it.
I didn't know we were going to do a U.S. history lesson
But
today.
Here's the thing about it. So the Supreme Court had this law, and somebody made a law in New York. This is what happened in the Supreme Court. I read this, okay? In 1903, 1910. Basically what happened was a person who hired somebody to work 60 hours a week. And it was against the law to work 60 hours a week in the 1900s. But they made a contract, and the worker was okay working 60 hours. Well, the state of New York went and says, you can't write contracts for somebody to work more than 40 hours a week. They impaired you from writing certain contracts. Guess what happened? Went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, no, you can do that. And then the Supreme Court said, and you can read all the bills, and I had to go through a lot, unless somebody's health or welfare is in case. So if I try to hire you to go work 2,000 hours a week running, and you could probably almost, get really hurt doing something. So I write a contract with you to chop your arm off. That's against somebody's health and welfare, right? And so a state can go in and stop that. That's what they're limited for. And so the limiting me to buy somebody's house, no, that's not health or welfare. And so the federal law has clearly shown on multiple occasions this is the Constitution. If the wholesaling law ever goes to the Supreme Court, they will look at this and say, no, you can't stop from somebody from buying a house, because guess what? What does the preamble say, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That is what it is. So if my pursuit of happiness is to own a home, which is called the American dream, that's a source of happiness for people. So if you're trying to impair me from doing something in the Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, it's not good, right? And so what I let you know is all these laws are not enforceable, and they are actually not enforceable. Now, I'm not going to get in legal trouble here, but I will tell you, there's not one person in Illinois that has gotten in trouble for wholesaling. Not one. Guys, show me a mugshot that says somebody wholesaled a house and they could go to jail. Not one.
So why do we have hundreds of thousands of internet feeds about banning and illegal and you're going to jail? And I'm like, and why is it only like me and Zach standing on a pedestal saying you guys are being played? The reason, guys, put 2 and 2 together. We put information out for free. We're telling you the truth. Anybody who seems to have an alternate agenda seems to go on the other side. So all I want you to do is be educated. You pick whichever side you want to be on. I don't care. I want you to be on the right side, what's best for you and your family. It's ridiculous to fear. Like wholesaling is going to be around forever. It is a fundamental part of real estate and it wouldn't function correctly without it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of trying to be controlled by being realtors. Guys, stop trying to go get your realtor's license. Number one, get informed and educated on your state law. Talk to a real estate attorney, and then you make a decision what's best for you. Please don't watch someone's video. Like watch more than our video and make a decision. But if someone just tells you it's banned, it's illegal, and they show you a law, that's it. And then they provide you a solution like a brokerage or some sort of comprehensive kit to make you certified. Dude, wake up, man. You are being run over. It's not going to, listen, you will make no more money doing any of this stuff in wholesaling. No more. And it's actually going to deter you. And you know what? If you get your real estate license, you might wind up being a realtor. I don't have a problem if that was your intent going out. But if your intent was to be a wholesaler and you got your license, you did all this stuff, you wind up being a realtor, have clarity in what you're doing. We've always told you singular focus is the best way to be successful in life. I mean, constantly playing defense and stuff like that, that's where we want you to have an awakening and understand what's going on here. So guys, it's up to you, man. You got to get both sides of the story. Most of the time, you're only getting one. And that's the frustrating part. And then me and Zach are kind of vilified. Oh, they're trying to get people in trouble. No, we're trying to educate you. Who doesn't want to know about the U.S. Constitution, the most important document in our country's history? And we're just going to kick it to the curb. So we've already given you the demonstration of the other business that has the opposite effect. There's a federal law that bans it completely, and almost every state is overriding it. So if states have the ability to override federal law, but then they ignore federal law and they change the law for theirs, which side would you rather be on? I think you all are on the right side. I've been doing this 20 years. I've heard this threat since I started in 2003. Yeah. It's just gotten worse with social media. And the one thing I've noticed is everyone's thrown that threat out. They always have a financial solution for you to fix it. But I'm just telling you, it's not going to work.
I got this one quote, and I'm not going to reveal, I'm not getting anyone in trouble, but I've gotten this quote from people. I got asked this question.
Yeah.
I got a lot of trouble for saying, but it's true. Zach, you're telling me you want people to go around wholesaling without being regulated by a board? I said, yeah. And they're like, oh, what? This is stuff when people who are high and mighty and they believe in, this is on, I'm just going to say I'm getting in trouble too, but this is people who like being in frats. It's the same thing as being in a fraternity. You know why? When I'm in a fraternity, I agree for someone to regulate me. Get up at this time, go pull this prank, go drink this beer. Like that's what a fraternity does. You let somebody tell you what to do. You get regulated by a private entity.
Yeah, we're not here to knock fraternities.
No, but
I was actually in one, but
here's the thing.
I didn't know anything back then, and I went to college, and you guys know how that worked out.
People love it. And what I can tell you is, why would I want to join a fraternity that says you can't wholesale like this and you can't, and if you make too much money, give it to me. I don't like what you did. I already got one mother. I love my mom to death. But when I was a kid, she would tell me what to do and what I can't do, right? Now I'm an adult and I make a lot of money. I don't want a second mom. Okay, I already got one. All right. And she's great. But like if I have a mom that's terrible, which is, a real estate board, in my opinion, it's terrible, right? I know it's right or wrong. I know how to follow the law. Okay. I know not to lie, cheat, steal. Like it's pretty much, I learned that in school. I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. So there are real wholesalers that are realtors that say everyone should be under a private corporation and tell me what to do to make more laws on me because I'm in it. I'll let you know. These wholesaling gurus are literally vegans. And this is the truth. They are what I call wholesaling vegans. You know why I call them wholesaling vegans?
Please tell me.
Now, the vegans, I'm not making fun of you, but I am telling you the truth. When you have a friend that is a vegan, and I do have friends that are vegans.
I was vegan briefly.
Do you know what they tell you every moment of the day? You should be a vegan. You should be a vegan. Yeah. You should be. Why do you want me to be a vegan? Because I'm a vegan. Yeah. CrossFitters are the same way. Why should I join CrossFit? Because I'm a CrossFitter, right? And you're going to learn very, very quickly that the only reason these people want you to do something is because they want you to be like them to justify their choice. When your friends make very bad decisions and they want you to join in on the bad decision, they only want you to do it because they're doing it. They want justification on why they're doing that bad decision or a good decision, right? Working out, you should work out with me because I'm working out and I'm trying to better my life, right? Who are vegans? Let's replace the word vegan with realtor. Why does every single person who says you should be a realtor that's a wholesaler is a realtor? If I'm a realtor and I'm a wholesaler, I should say you should be a realtor too. You know why? because I'm a realtor and I want to justify why I'm a realtor. Every single guru, coach, consultant, whatever you call them, that tells you to get a real estate license for wholesaling is also a licensed realtor. It's the truth.
You fit their narrative. Like, it's it. But guys, just understand this. Like, to me, honestly, I much rather teach you on how to talk to sellers and stuff like this. But this topic keeps coming up over and over. And my God, guys, when these videos come out, challenge it. Like, just say, listen, can you give me an exact example of somebody who went to jail for what you're saying? And then please explain in detail what your program to protect me is going to entail. And doesn't becoming a licensed realtor create a whole new like web for me? And don't you agree that getting licensed isn't going to teach me to be any better at wholesaling at all? And if you guys would ask that, because a lot of people get their license, the amount of people that get their license and then let it expire because they, it's a lot of money, it's a waste of time. It didn't help me. It didn't protect me. I don't even know what the stats on that. I would love to know that stats, but I'm sure NAR is never going to share that with us. And by the way, NAR, who kind of backs this whole thing up, they're being sued by the Department of Justice for an antitrust lawsuit. And they just had a big hearing at the Supreme Court Appeals and they lost. The lawsuit moves forward. They're trying to break up NAR. They're basically trying to say when you have a buyer and seller's commission so if I list the house, the buyer's agent, that's on their own, whatever they pay them. Like the buyer needs to pay for that. So you know how real estate works. All that 4 to 6% commission, it's all rolled up in the price. And that's why realtors all jack up the price. Because if you think you're not paying a real estate commission as a buyer, you're kidding yourself. It's just hidden in the listing agreement. They're trying to separate that to make it fair. And I actually agree with it. Like, you should get your own representation and pay your own bill. You would get a much, much better deal. But there's collusion and all the realtors, and like, this is just the way it goes. And if you ever ask a realtor, how the heck did they ever come up with 6%? 6% wasn't even challenged till like 10 years ago.
And this is coming from somebody that pays realtors a lot of money every single year. Heck, we own a real estate brokerage. Okay. So like I'm putting my wholesaling hat on. Okay, guys, at the end of the day, I want you to understand what we think. There's a country, we live in Florida. There's a country south of us, like 150 miles south of us, that decided to stop everything and regulate every single part of business. And that country is not doing too well right now. You know what country I'm talking about?
Cuba?
Yes.
Yeah.
They decided to regulate everything.
South of Florida.
Guess what happens when you just decide to regulate everything?
It's destroyed.
They destroy it.
Corruption, it's endless.
So do we want that for wholesale? No, we don't, obviously. And we have a constitution. Thank goodness that we have that to protect us. So let's talk about the laws. Okay, let's get into it. So Illinois and Maryland have that FSBO law. They don't want you to sell houses or lease any property without a realtor, which is never enforced. Because I know people that rent more than 2 properties a year in Illinois that aren't licensed.
Oh my God.
Is the FBI going to come to my door and say, who is the 80-year-old lady that's renting out her 2 houses in Illinois?
Yeah, you're right. The truth is, guys,
jail, right?
Anyone who has a realtor's license, I don't care how you get it. Some people start as realtors and they leave the dark side and cover the wholesaling. And I love that. I think that's great. But there is a common thread when someone has a bona fide real estate license, they always support and push it. It's like this special call. Listen, I'm not a realtor because if I drink that Kool-Aid, I might join that thing too. But it's like, always ask someone when they push you, like you got to be licensed, ask them if they have a real estate license. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they will.
Every single hate comment I get for this video, all from 100% licensed realtors, 100%.
But I like realtors, but realtors have a different set of skill sets than a wholesaler. They're not even close. Other than the real estate, that's the only thing that blends us together. And we want to buy as cheap as possible. They want to sell as expensive as possible. That's how you get the McCoy and Hatfield.
But here's the thing. I actually 100% believe realtors should be in 99% of real estate transactions. I truthfully believe in my heart, as somebody that helps a lot of people out, if you want to sell your house for the most, you should not sell it on your own. You should get a realtor and go do that. If you're looking to buy a rental property for the average Joe, use a realtor. I had a buddy,
because the buyer pays the premium. That's
well, they can't negotiate that. They can't do any of it. I had a buddy trying to buy a house. He's like, Zach, can you help me buy? But no, I'm like, no, go with a realtor. I am not doing this with you. And number one, they're going to give you a better price than if you do it by yourself every time.
I agree. And you'll probably have a more successful. Listen, guys, realtors work. That's why they run 95% of the market. We do a specific niche. And when we cross paths, we kind of get problems. So why are we going to try to take 3 to 5% of the market and shove it in the other 95%? You know how this works, man. Like, we are a square peg. We are never going to fit in that round hole. It's never going to happen.
Here's the thing. There's no more live streams. The feds can't stop me because I'm telling you about the Constitution. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
And there's not one lawyer that can tell me I'm against this.
As long as I don't have a license, nobody's like going to control me. And like, that's, guys, this is why like America is so great, in my opinion. You get to do what you say what you want. I get it. I know all the stuff going on in the world, but the reality is, if we lose this fight and you all conform, like you guys
fight. It's not a fight.
It's ridiculous. You guys have your rights. I can't believe people are still telling you everything's banned. It's ridiculous. Like, do a little bit of homework. I'm not the smartest guy. He's much smarter than I am. He reads a lot more than me. Read the Constitution and understand it, and just say, listen, start quoting people.
Section 1, Article 10. Go to Congress. They'll show you all the case law with the Supreme Court, which clearly states they limit states from making laws against private contracts unless it's for the health or welfare of somebody. And health or welfare, it's not life or death wholesaling houses, right? And so
sometimes it is.
So like it just, but you need to be regulated because wholesalers take advantage of people financially. Okay, so if you take financial advantage of somebody maliciously and criminally, you have what they call financial abuse laws. Those are real stuff. And so what I want to understand is, first of all, if I'm a real, so I get this all the time. You know, if I'm a realtor, can I wholesale? Yes, you can. I'm not saying if you're a realtor, you can't wholesale. It's terrible. You just have some more regulation, but that's okay.
You have a lot more regulation.
And so let's go through the laws really quick, and then we'll break down some comments. But like, this is really simple. So Kentucky, which I showed again, it has a marketing law, tries to stop you from advertising, but they don't tell you what advertising is. But if you double close, you'll be fine. Heck, it doesn't even stop you from assigning the contract. You can assign the contract.
As long as you don't advertise it. Guys, you're smart.
But there's ways around that, and technically advertising doesn't tell you. Now, let's talk about Oklahoma. Oklahoma has what we call a marketing law, not an assignment ban law, and marketing law. And I have videos on freelisting.com how to do it. So what basically Oklahoma has, it's not even a wholesaling law. It's a marketing law. It's how you market contracts of real estate, not even how you market. So what Oklahoma basically states is you can't publicly market for sale a piece of real estate, which I'm not sympathetic to wholesaling regulation, but this is probably the one I'm most sympathetic for. You know why? This is my biggest pet peeve with wholesalers. They'll get a property under contract. All right. Yeah. I'll put a property under contract with you for $100 grand for Rick Ginn. I'm going to buy his house for $100 grand. They'll go to Facebook and says, I'm selling this house for $120,000
with pictures. You're breaking the law.
You're not selling the house.
You're selling the contract.
You're selling the contract. Now, if I say I have a contract for sale, take a picture of the contract if you want to sell it, right? It's the funniest thing in the world.
So
right?
Truly, if they were going to enforce all these laws,
well, no, Oklahoma is actually an enforceable law because you are regulating the marketing of something, not the writing or the obligation of the contract. It is the actual marketing of it. You can actually do that, right? So, for example, I'm not going to get into the Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment, everyone knows what that is. You can't stop from somebody, according to the Second Amendment, from buying something, okay? Yeah. But you can regulate who can buy it, when they can buy it, timeframes, things like that, right? And that is something that's different because that's not what we're talking about in the Second Amendment. That is not private contracts. So, you have to get a license to buy that. Well, you have to get a license to wholesale houses. No, because writing a contract is not the same thing as that. But for something like a Second Amendment type thing, I can't say that word on this channel. You can't stop from somebody from buying it, but you can regulate the people that can buy it or some things of it, right? That's what the Supreme Court has shown. The Supreme Court has shown that you can write contracts and privately do it all day, every day. So you can change the marketing of a contract. Mm-hmm. You can regulate that. That's for the states, but you can't stop somebody from writing up a contract and then selling that contract. So Oklahoma, you just can't act like you're a realtor.
You know what the definition of a license is?
What?
Government taking your right away and selling it back to you.
Lord.
It's true. So don't get me started on fishing licenses. Crazy.
But, yeah. So basically what it says is in Oklahoma, basically what it basically means is you can call up a cash buyer. And that's not publicly marketing. That's not publicly marketing. That's privately marketing, right? You can do a lot of things around that. It's all up to you, but that's easy. Nebraska has the same thing about marketing it. And then Arizona has something called an intention law, which is very interesting, right? Mm-hmm. They can't stop people without a license because Arizona is actually a purple state. So they're not insanely regulatory heavy. And so they can't do something crazy. So Arizona has something called the intention law, which basically means if I intend to solely wholesale a house, I have to disclose to the seller that I am a wholesaler and I will be wholesaling this house. My sole intention is to wholesale it. That, not the worst in the world. It's kind of on the bubble of unconstitutional, but I don't think it's a terrible thing, right? And it's technically you can't do that.
No, listen, if you got good marketing practices anyways, I've already told you, the more transparent you are, the easier this business is, the more you try to hide stuff.
Well, here's the thing. You can get around that law really easy.
I'm talking about with the sellers, not with the law.
Well, let's talk about the law really quick. So with intention, if I intend to double close and then I decide, you know what, I don't want to double close this house anymore. I just want to buy it myself. Or I intend to buy it as a rental for myself because I have a hard money loan.
Yeah.
But interest rates are a little too high. I realized I'm just going to, you know what, I intended just to buy it myself, but I'm just going to give it to somebody else. I can go around that law every day, right? Guys, you can't stop wholesaling. And without a license, that's the one thing we can. To stop that, you will literally have to stop people from buying and selling things. That is pretty much it. You have to literally stop people from buying and selling things. You're going to stop wholesaling. Yeah. And so in Illinois, they try to just, fine. We're going to stop people from renting out property. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I actually know I know another landlord who rents out 2 houses in Illinois. And he should be going to jail, apparently, due to the mortgages, right? It's just so funny. And then Philadelphia has the same law for the city of Philadelphia. If you intend, but if you don't intend to wholesale, or if you only wholesale, if you intend to buy it, but then you wholesale it on the other end, they can't stop you. Yeah. And the reason why I'm so against this too is because wholesaling is the greatest side hustle or full-time job to go from 0 to 100K to $1 million without any money at all. It is actually the only one I know of. It's really, I mean, there's other stuff you can do, but like, I'm telling you, it's one of the best ones.
Somewhat biased.
And here's the thing. I'm somebody that believes in the Constitution. I'm somebody that does not like discrimination. And I'm somebody that believes that everybody in the United States of America right now has a right to get rich if they want to work hard. Do you agree on that?
I agree 100%.
That stuff. So discrimination is one of the things that I don't believe in. I think that's really stupid. I think it's a terrible judgment call on everybody. And I just think it's overall terrible for the United States. Judging somebody based on how tall they are, their gender, and that stuff, terrible. I don't like it, right? And the thing about it is if you're a realtor, you are automatically discriminated against. I think for most states, you have to have a GED to become a realtor. So your education level will stop you from getting rich in real estate.
You guys
if you're
know
a realtor,
how that works.
I don't believe in education level. If you are a felon or if you did commit a felony, for most states, you have to wait 10 years or something like that. There's some places you can or can't, but like I do believe, right? I do believe in the law. I believe if you break the law, you should be prosecuted for it. And if you are found guilty from a court of your peers, let it be, right? That is what happened, right?
Not a board of realtors.
Not a board of realtors. But here's the thing on this, okay? If you committed a crime, I know a lot of people that have committed crimes. I've never committed a crime in my life. But the one thing I can tell you is people that commit crimes, they become rehabilitated and they're still great people. They are still great people that have had an error in their life and they've gone forward with that, right?
People make mistakes.
People make mistakes. And there are some crimes I do truly believe in my heart personally that are it's just unapologetic. I don't have any respect for that person. I think everybody has that, right? Ethically, morally in their heart, right? But for a lot of places, right? If you were 18 years old, you stole a candy bar, you were broke, definitely that's against the law. You should probably go to jail for it, right? But here's the thing. Oh, that is true. I have had sped before. I'm talking about
no. Can I tell a story real quick? When Zach was younger, ready for this? This is how just how safe he is. We got pulled over because he was going too slow. So that's why I'm laughing at the comment. The officer said, listen, you got to get at the speed of traffic or I'm going to write you a ticket for being too under the speed limit. So when he says that, he's literally not lying.
No, I don't break the law. But what I can tell you is from people out here, I know people that were, unfortunately, they've had some situations where they were addicted to drugs. Terrible thing. I hate it. It breaks my heart. They get better and they change their life and they get a family. They're a great person. They change their life. That's the story of so many citizens. And there's a lot of people in the United States that have committed felonies and they've gotten better from it, right? People make mistakes. People change. That's the point of living, right? the more time you have on earth, the better you are. And the thing is, if you're to get rich in real estate, you get regulated. If you've made a mistake in the past, you are a terrible person, and you should never be able to be rich, right? And that's discrimination, in my honest truth. This discrimination based on age. There's so much discrimination going on. To become a realtor, I hate it, right?
Yeah. Education level. Are you like, seriously? Your education level is determined if you become licensed or not. Guys, there's so many things that are to think about here. The people that are on here young, 15, 16, trying to like get a huge jump start because they don't want the life of their parents. They love their parents. They just don't want the life. Oh, no, you got to wait till you get licensed to do anything. It's ridiculous. Guys, come on, man. I think we've beaten this to death, man. I don't want to discuss this anymore. And honestly, when you're going to have a discussion with someone, go deep on the question. Stop going, oh my God, I got to stop wholesaling. I'm scared. I'm going to be arrested. Guys, you've learned what happens when you follow the crowd. You are going to wind up just like the rest of them. The reason you got into wholesaling was to try to break free, change the trajectory of life, and really get freedom. And now your freedoms are constantly being attacked, not only in just the great world, but like even in our little wholesaling world. And me and Jack said, listen, we're not putting up with it anymore. You got to fight back. This is ridiculous. Stop being scared, hiding under a rock. The realtor license is not going to protect you.
I will fight anybody tooth and nail of how your education level doesn't determine how smart you are. I'll tell you all day. One of the greatest speakers of all time in the United States history, Frederick Douglass, never went to college. First of all,
he can't be a licensed realtor.
Well, here's the thing. He was never, I don't know if he got his GED, but like, no. One of the most eloquent speakers of all time, brought one of the greatest changes in the United States. One of the smartest people in U.S. politics ever, or just in general. And he never really got any formal education. I don't think he might have got some high school, but not really any good formal education. But he was able to make changes. He was able to represent the United States, right? He did all this great stuff, but he never got educated. And then every single time I bring him up, people are like, well, he's an exception. No, he's not an exception. You don't have to get education to be good, right? And what I can tell you, some of the greatest people you look up to, they didn't have formal college education.
But why is education solely defined on going through the government's program to get educated? Guys, you have all the tools. Your education level can be of a PhD or a doctorate on your own without ever even going to schools. There's so much information available today more than ever. You can by far bypass any of these public schools, any of these systems, if you make the effort, just because they have the program. But if you educate yourself and you elevate yourself, then in the eyes of the government, you're not qualified to even like write a contract anymore. And that's where the world has changed. That's why you guys are tuning in here, because we give you the greatest education in the world on wholesaling. It doesn't cost you a dime. And the rest of the industry struggles with that because they're still using the old format. It's broken, guys. Things got to change. Our business is being attacked because they're trying to put it in one narrow scope to try to protect a few bad deals. Guys, there's going to be bad apples no matter what you do. We're never going to completely eliminate. Licensing them, that's crazy.
So age, education, all this stuff, we don't believe in it. So if you can understand what we're trying to say here, these laws are unconstitutional. There's only one currently right now, Illinois, and that law is not being enforced at all. And I had to wait. I remember that law passed. I'm like, I got to shut up because maybe they're going to enforce it. And then it'll go to the Supreme Court, get shot down. The problem is they don't enforce it at all. And it's been 4 years and I've been kind of quiet for 4 years on it. But like, it's been 4 years. I haven't seen one on one instance, right?
Not one, but
I have it. Oh, go ahead.
Hundreds of videos saying you're going to jail for it. Like, guys, the data's in, man. Like, stop being scared. Go out and do your business. Do it ethically. Do it correctly. And understand your state laws. Talk to a licensed real estate attorney. And you make the decision. Stop letting these people make decisions for you. Get the story.
But guess what I've seen real life instances of?
Yeah, what?
Realtors that get their $80,000 assignment fee taken away because somebody complained.
What? Yeah.
They legally made 80 grand. They legally made 80 grand, but the the Board of Realtors, which isn't a government institution, said,
by the way, what is everybody on that Board of Realtors? They're all licensed realtors. They're not like wholesalers. They're the ones pushing. So just understand, you're not going to go through like a jury of your peers. You're going in front of agents. They're probably already made the judgment before you got there, and it's going to be a problem. I have another friend in another state. He went and did hey, this guy or gal told me to get this protection. Dude, he's been in the board 9 times. He's been through 4 brokers and nobody wants to take him anymore. He says, I'm just letting it lapse. I've created a monster here. So just understand, any type of real estate transaction, you are now under the umbrella of a licensed realtor. And if they deem you did something that didn't follow the code of ethics, which is a whole set of rules that I'll never go through because I don't believe in half of them.
Some, yes.
If they pass the judgment, they take your money away and fine you.
And then you have the X on your record and no broker wants you.
Yeah.
And now if you wholesale correctly and legally, but someone complains to you, no broker wants you ever again. It's like, it's crazy. And then you're screwed if somebody decides that you wholesaled legally, but they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Now you can't wholesale for the rest of your life if you're under the realtor umbrella. Guys, this is the last thing I want to say. Why do I fight so hard on this? There are real estate people currently right now that want to tell you that we should all band together. And the solution is to fight the law. No, not to fight the law. Our intention is to go to each state and say, you should ban wholesaling. And for it to be legal, they have to be licensed under me. There are people that are trying to do that right now. And I don't believe in it. And that's it. I'm not saying
there's nothing to fight. You're not breaking the law. You're federally protected. Guys, use the other industry as an example. Like, people go away like 15, 20 years even for one violation. Ours isn't anything like that. But the only thing that gets you is practicing real estate without a license. And honestly, these laws, in my opinion, are unenforceable. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm telling you, educate yourself on your state laws, meet with a bona fide real estate attorney for your state, and you make the choice. Stop being scared, because if you add up all these fees and all these protections and all the reporting you're going to have to do, in the end, it's never going to make you a better wholesaler. And you might wind up just becoming a realtor, because the goal of them doing this is to have you conform. So if you want to do that, then just understand what you're getting into.
Exactly. So I think we've exhausted our anger.
Exhausting.
But we just broke down the laws, and that's pretty much it.